And on the boat with us was a man named Killer Miller, who had a freakish narwhal horn protruding from his head. He was half fish, half man, and he could hunt fish with the prowess of an orca. On the days that Miller caught fish, we would take them, rain or shine, to shore to light a campfire and roast those fish on open coals, along with foil-wrapped veggies and plenty of New Zealand pure. And on those nights of indulging in New Zealand's finest frosty beverage, we would scamper around the beach to chase huge hermit crabs or seek out encounters with other tiny aquatic creatures such as Omar Oscar octopus, the tiniest octopus that ever was. Motoring or not, sailing sometimes, very festive in the cabin. Lots of sing-alongs thanks to our affable Kiwi musician, the J-Man, singing a lot of Alabama, Arkansas, I Do Love My Ma and Pa. And finally the day came in which the sails were put up, 3 sails, mainsail, Genoa, and the staysail, all at once, explaining what heel angle is and making use of our instruments. Wind gauges, compass, and even you have to keep eyes on the water lest you run over little whales like Merrill. And we were never too far away from some exceptional reef to dive as a crew and enjoy the waters, and occasionally work together to tow the dinghy back to the boat because of a dead outboard motor. We'd make other friends too in sailing vessels on the same path, invite them over for dinner, and hear big tales of the sea from the adventures of others. And in Tonga, it is famous for whale diving. There you see us diving with them, the whales sleeping in the depths, and sometimes there were lurking sharks. More than diving with the whales, we would just chase them around and see them breach in the distance. And more than seeing breaching whales in the distance, we would just goof around on deck. And who knew that our guide was an affable Tongan who had a thing for spanking unaware crew with dock lines. Whoopsh, whoopsh, whoopsh. After a good day of whale watching, there was a lot more singing to be done back on the boat, fueled by a fair amount of beer drinking, which also brought about Mr. "You sound like my mom" Shad, our most needy crew member. The next night, invitations went out for onboard entertainment provided by the Havili crew, in which everybody had to do a 3 to 5 minute stand-up comedy act and participate in a rap battle. The crew came out in force. First up in the stand-up comedy was Drew the Missionary, aka that guy. Then up was Hans, the man from the future. After Hans came Pool Boy Post Malone, followed by Gil, the father of a deceased, recently speared fish by our captain. And yes, she had a sweet mustache that looked like that. Then came Captain Nance with the most brutal, gutting jokes that laid waste to other crew members. Mr. Nonchalance came up and dropped some really good one-liners. And then the captain steps up to the microphone, foregoes comedy, only to lay it down as the undisputed rap battle champion. And finally, J-Man sings a song and makes everybody tear up. Needless to say, such shenanigans led to big hangovers, which were thankfully cured at a tiki bar in the South Pacific where they served pina coladas. And after a day of drinking, what better to do than to have a night of drinking? A night of drinking beer and eating ice cream and brownies. A night that also offered free spankings with a paddleboard paddle by him. All of that excess because Mr. Narwhal Headhorn had to fly out and leave the crew. And so we left, sailed on without him, saw a spectacular sunset, and sharks galore. Then came the day we made our first lengthy passage between islands, although it was a rather tame endeavor because we were just motoring.